chance late in the game to take the lead, and that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he had much of a choice, right? I mean, the thing about those plays with the infield in, almost never are going to get the blocking call, and it's an interesting part of that rule. I think what helped us there was Naylor hesitated a little. I think the ball right before it was almost identical. I know a different guy fielded it, but and we didn't go on the other one. Maybe there was a slight hesitation, but MJ, that's incredible athleticism to be able to do that and still touch the plate. You know, all those things go through my mind. Is did he touch? Did they tag him? You know, because there's different rules and ways to appeal all those kinds of things. So, but clearly turned out to be a huge spot in the game.
Now you just can't leave.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ. A very roughed voice. New Day with SSJ.
Gruff sounds good.
Doesn't feel good. I IMC the Kansas City charity softball game with several members of the Kansas City Chiefs last night, and so I was on the mic for a couple of hours, and so it was a lot of yelling, a lot of hype in the crowd, a lot of interviewing the players, a lot. And so if you were out there at Legends Field in the crowd, hope you enjoyed it. Tried to make it as entertaining as possible. The defense beat the offense. I think it ended up 24-17, so it was a slugfest. But it was just, it was wild. It was a lot. There was a home run derby. There was the game itself. Raised $200,000 for Justin Reed's foundation, and also foundation that Trey Smith's working with some local charities. And yeah, afterwards, I mean, it was wild. I'll just put it that way. And my family was up, and I had my assistant Selena St. John with me on the field for a while, and then she even said, "Hey, I'm you know what? These damn kids. I'm gonna go up in the air-conditioned suite and leave you here in the field." So I thought, wait a minute, I thought you were going to be my assistant throughout the entire game with me. It's kind of hot, and they said they have hamburgers up there. Julia keeps texting me pictures of the hamburgers and pizza's coming. So Julia took great joy, apparently, in taunting her sister with the refreshments and concessions that were being consumed. And so, that is funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I don't think Julia realized she was also taunting me. No, but still, she wanted, of the kids, Selena is the one that is at least considering would like to follow in my footsteps in some fashion. So I had her down there watching what Bethany does, watching what Paige does, watching what I do, and so she had a good time. Also, hoping to get a picture with Trent McDuffie. So she wanted a picture with Trent McDuffie, and she wanted a picture with Louis Reese-Zammit. So taken care of.
Nice.
Taken care of, baby girl.
I want my picture taken with Duffy.
You should have come down there and followed me around and been my assistant. I'd have got your picture taken.
I wish I could have.
I went up to him. Can I? Because it's I said, would you mind taking a picture with my daughter real quick? And he was very, as always, Trent McDuffie, very nice, very gracious. Great. Hey, and I can imagine. Hey, you mind taking a picture with my little producer here real quick? He's such a fan.
Yeah. Might have been frowned upon.
You know what? Last night, it was a blast, man. Yeah, that's the only thing that ever worries me. My voice, just you could just do too much. I had the ALS golf tournament on Monday. That was a pleasure to MC. That means so much to me to be a part of that wonderful event. And then last night was the Chiefs charity softball game, and then right after the show today, at some point when I get out there, when my work is done here, I will head over to the Sheffield Place golf tournament. I'm on the advisory board at Sheffield Place, and I MC their golf tournament. And so it's been a fun week, a fun-filled week, a very important week, and it's always very meaningful to me to be able to give back and be involved in these events to help the community that I love so much here in Kansas City. So
I imagine lawyer Lance will be swinging them.
Yeah.
Good man.
I'll see him out there. Man, I can tell you what, the Royals winning that game is a big, big deal. But I could tell you that the most important story comes from out of Chiefs OTAs that never even took place yesterday, because we heard the story early on that a player had suffered a seizure and went into cardiac arrest. Soon after that, we find out the player is defensive end B.J. Thompson, and that he was taken to the hospital, and that was really it. That's all we knew, and that's scary enough right there. And last night, still some of the players were obviously emotional about it. Before the game, they had the team chaplain come out and give a special prayer for B.J. Thompson, and so everyone bowed their heads and prayed, and hopefully that those prayers and that positive energy can find their way to that young man. Last night, Chris Turnage, B.J. Thompson's agent, gave an update. This is from Tom Pelissero from NFL Network. From Chiefs defensive end B.J. Thompson's agent, Chris Turnage, who visited Thompson in the hospital after he suffered a seizure and went into cardiac arrest today. This is a quote from Chris Turnage. B.J. is still unconscious at this point, but he's stable and vitals are good. His family asks for your continued prayers. Well, you got him. And that far and away the most important story in sports yesterday. Man, I don't know, Jake. I don't even really know what else I could add to it. It just scares the hell out of you. That could obviously happen to. That could happen to anyone at any time. We don't know.
Quick perspective check.
That's right.
That's for sure.
That's exactly right. They just offer our prayers and positive thoughts.
Thoughts and prayers to him and his family, and good news that he's stable. That could have gone a different direction and been even more tragic. Luckily, he is from what reports are, he's stable and recovering. So that's like you said, not a whole lot you can add to it, other than it's a terrible event. You never want to see something like this in any arena of the sports world.
And how frightening must that have been for his teammates?
Yeah.
And look, hey, maybe the I don't even want to say a silver lining or anything. Thankfully, that's where he was at the facility where he could get immediate medical attention, right? So, look, like you said, I mean, if they're in a team meeting and that happens, that puts things in perspective. And thankfully, the Chiefs medical staff responded quickly before he was taken away by ambulance. And maybe, just maybe, that, I mean, that's the best place he could have been, maybe. Just to have that happen and to be able to get the immediate attention he needs. And so we will, as the family's asking for our prayers, and we'll give it to him. So yeah, I don't know. And of course, the team then canceled all the all activities and the media opportunities and everything else. And who could blame them? So, wow. 5th round pick in the 2023 draft. Young man. So, as soon as we get any other information about B.J. Thompson and his condition, we will readily pass it along. So, yeah, Jake, it's just and there were still obviously some players that were emotional about it last night, and why wouldn't they be?
I mean, that's their brother, man. That's somebody they go to work with every day, and somebody they compete with, and it's all those guys consider each other family. So it hits hard when something like that, especially. I mean, that's a traumatic event, and but it sounds like the Chiefs are doing everything in their power to support the players, and because it's scary, man. It's scary. That's especially athletes and young athletes. You you think you're pretty invincible. You don't think anything like this is going to happen to you or your teammates. And then when it does, it's I imagine it's an absolute shocker. So those guys, they'll support their teammate, but it's got to be incredibly emotionally and mentally just a stress and a traumatic event that they'll have to work through, unfortunately.
Yep. Once again, we'll offer our prayers to B.J. Thompson, and hopefully he makes a quick recovery. But we'll update you on his condition and any news we get from the Chiefs or his agent, who once again said last night he, I guess, gave an update to Tom Pelissero from NFL Network and said that B.J. Thompson was still unconscious but in stable condition. Vitals were good, and the family's asking for prayers. All right, we move on to the Royals, who had an afternoon game yesterday, and we talked about the importance of the game and how big of a spot it was for Brady Singer. He did not pitch well, and if you would have told me before the game that he did not pitch well, and the game would have depended on the bullpens, I would have told you the Chiefs or the Royals. I got Chiefs on the mind now. The Royals were going to lose. That's not a recipe for the Royals to beat the Cleveland Guardians or at least we didn't think it was. We talked yesterday, we talked the day before about how Cleveland's bullpen has been elite. Cleveland's bullpen has been one of the best in baseball. And the Royals bullpen has some issues. The Royals bullpen, there's enough concerns about the Royals bullpen where they are out shopping for bullpen arms now. Several national reports have the Royals already trying to jump the market and add to the bullpen. J.J. Piccolo over the last weekend, said that they were trying to jump the market in the best case scenario. And that's what they need. So if you told me it was going to be a battle of the bullpens, I was like, oh boy. Well, Brady Singer, as I mentioned, does not pitch well. 3 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And then you go to the bullpen, and the bullpen locks it down. Will Smith, an inning of a third of scoreless baseball. Angel Zerpa, a scoreless inning. Long, a scoreless inning. Schreiber, a scoreless inning. MacArthur with a perfect inning for the save, number 12. And so, give credit where it's due. They came in and threw 5 1/3 innings of shutout ball. And they shut down one of the hottest teams in baseball. And the Royals were able to get Bybee out of the game after 5 innings. And he's been really good. And they were able to at least put up a run and win the game against the bullpen. So Royals win 4-3. Not the recipe we would have thought that was going to lead to a Royal victory. But who cares how they did it? That was important after losing the first game in Cleveland in such disappointing fashion, after being robbed of the opportunity to bounce back in Game 2 because of weather. They're faced with one more game in Cleveland, and they get a chance to leave with a split of what became a 2-game series. I'll sign up for that. We'll take that. 2 heavyweights collide in Cleveland. Nothing was settled. Each team wins a game, and they'll meet again at the end of the month for 4 games in Kansas City. Let's go. But look, if they'd have lost the game, wouldn't have been the end of the world, wouldn't have been the end of the season. They won the game, and so it's not, not going to take a victory lap and say that they're for sure headed to the playoffs, anything. It just shows, number one, that this team is who we thought they were, a good baseball team that's ascending, that's tough mentally, that has the ability to bounce back. And that's exactly what they did, because that was a difficult loss to bounce back from after, in Game 1. And they showed us something. And on top of that, the starting pitcher didn't get through 4 innings, and they had to rely on their bullpen. They showed us something. So that was an important win. That was a big win. That's a win that makes you happy as they continue this tough stretch in June.
And I think you said it best, is the unorthodox way that they did it. I mean, that bullpen was great. Melendez, his struggles.
One of the weirdest slides I've ever seen.
But what an athletic play.
Right.
But more importantly, he drew a walk to get on base.
Look, he's not hitting it all. I mean, look, like you said, he drew a walk, and he still went 0 for 3.
Yeah.
But he found a way to help the team.
Yeah, and even the bottom of the lineup,
Renfroe, 2 for. But I told you this. Renfroe's hot now.
Yeah, he's doing great.
For
his
a
last
month
11
now,
games.
But even if you go back for a month and look at his numbers, we'll take that.
And how many times did you tell Mike Boddicker, you look at the back of the baseball card?
Right. Renfroe, if you look at his season numbers, you still may react, bleh. But if you look over the last month, you're like, okay, that's why they signed him. So, and he went 2 for 3 with the ribby yesterday. And so you're thinking, all right, okay. All right, so right field's not a problem right now. And then Kyle Isbell comes back. It's not funny, but I mean, like 10 days ago, fouling a ball off his face. And then a few days ago, his head colliding with Bobby Witt Jr.'s knee. I mean, he's to be honest with you, he's lucky he's not on the IL. He's lucky he didn't have a severe concussion. He suffered some facial fractures and some things. I'm amazed after those two events happening so close together that he's not on the IL.
What a tough dude.
No, that's another thing. We know they love him for his defense, and he hasn't shown a whole lot offensively, but that's a guy the teammates and the coaching staff, they got to love because he's tough as nails. That's exactly what you take away from the. Good God, that guy's tough. Look at that little red ass running out there. We'll take that. And he comes up big yesterday.
Yeah, the boys are playing some ball.
Yeah. That's right. Vinny continues to produce 2 for 5 with a ribby. All right, let's go. And it is important that the bottom of the lineup did something, because that's been an anchor dragging the Royals down, and it wasn't yesterday. I mean, hey, look, you're down 3-1 to Cleveland. You're in your bullpen, and you're thinking, this isn't going to end well. And then look who comes through for mean singles. Melendez walks. Renfroe doubles. Isbell at least gets the run home with a productive out and gets Melendez home with that. Did we call it a slide? With the
a dive?
With the acrobatics.
The acrobat dive?
Whatever that was, I can't do it. Whatever that was, I'd have thrown my back out. No. So, good job, MJ. That tied the game. And then who came through with the clutch hit in the 8th inning? Isbell, after Frazier doubled. So if I'd have told you what two Royals players are going to combine for the game-winning hit and run in the 8th inning, who would you have said? I don't think, Jake, even though you're very savvy in prognosticating things, I don't think you would have told me, well, I think it'll be Adam Frazier and Kyle Isbell who come through.
I wouldn't have that on my bingo card.
I think Frazier's going to double and Isbell's going to drive him in with a single, and that's how they'll win the game.
If you'd have asked me maybe what's the most unlikely way they win the game, that might have been my answer.
While the bullpen is
locking it down,
5 1/3 scoreless innings, that's how they're going to do it, okay? All right, Steven?
I love it. I mean,
the bullpen is going to kick ass, and the bottom of the lineup is going to carry the water.
We got Buster Olney texting me after that game.
What did he say?
He said, "Nice bounce back for the boys," with an exclamation point.
Yeah, and it's just and just the way they did it too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gives the bullpen confidence, gives the bottom of the order confidence, and shows, okay, it doesn't have to be the superstars to carry the whole load. And that's what a team does. So
they're impressing.
That's what a good team does.
They're impressing people all across this nation that cover baseball. So, love it.
Do you?
Yeah, I'll take text from Buster.
All right.
Name drop there.
Thank you. Boy, we talked about a lot of things, and apparently this entire segment was just a way for Jake to let everyone know that Buster Olney texted him. And you'd think he could have told me that last night. He could have said, hey, Buster texted me this. He could have told me before the show. No. He saved that nugget
for the monologue.
For a tremendous name drop right here. Hey, hold on here. Wait a minute. Let me grab that. You dropped this name. Let me get it for you. Here. Man.
Nice bounce back.
That was a super Nate Bukaty move, by the way.
Trying to do my best.
Didn't text me and tell me that last night. Didn't tell me before the show. Oh, by the way, I got Buster Only texting me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Boy.
No problem.
Yeah. Don't separate your shoulder, patting yourself on the back. That's great. So Royals win 4-3, and game 1 of the NBA Finals. Boo.
Yeah. That was.
You gotta have to do something. Yeah, Dallas, you need to do something. Make this watchable.
Right.
Don't do this.
I mean, they cut it to 8, but for
I-
like 2 seconds. For like 2
You
seconds.
just said they cut it to 8.
Right.
They say they cut it to 1. They didn't cut it to 3. They cut it to 8.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not gonna go and tout that and call that a barn burner of a game. Well, it's funny you say that because Phil's. Do you see what's going on in the game? Because I knew that Boston was up big.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to tell me that they tied it. I go,
Right.
what? He goes, they cut it to 8.
Well, they were down
said,
by
go
29, I think.
back
at
over
one
there.
point.
What is that? I know, but still, it's
Yeah,
like,
right,
that's
yeah.
not, they cut it to 8. I go,
It's funny, like
Right.
That's
come back. And I need a better. Did you
single
if you're gonna
digits?
say, did you see what happened to the game? Then I need a better ending to
Right.
that little
Yeah.
exclamation than they cut it to 8.
fair.
Phil
Fair point.
and Jake.
Fair point.
Well, did you see the football game? They had it down to 14 points. That lead. I thought they
They cut it to 10.
right. That's a lot going
And
on.
now you got to wait till Sunday for the next game.
Well, that's fine. I'll wait. But just make it worth waiting for.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like they could be playing tomorrow or something.
Yeah, thank you. We will take a break back after this on WHB.
The boys are playing some ball.
Welcome back to the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephen St. John here with Stan Weber. Stan, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. What a beautiful day. Is Todd Lebo around?
Not yet. He's bothering me really early in the morning with text messages, though.
What did I say when I came back?
You said Border Patrol,
I said Border Patrol.
and I didn't know.
There it is. You're supposed to catch me.
Without a doubt,
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ. See, I knew it.
I didn't know what the over-under count was because I heard
2.5. That's the first time he's done it all week.
And I knew I was going to do it later in the week. I knew I was going to do it when I had a guest in, and I knew I was going to do it when I was physically and mentally drained. And I'm just going to be honest with you, that took a lot out of me last night, emceeing the softball game, because it was just all hell was breaking loose.
Well, and then you threw my focus on right before we came to break.
Right.
You're like, hey,
because
talking some business.
Because I'll answer you. I was fueled by anger just now when I saw an email and passed that along to you.
Yeah.
And so anger and see what anger and frustration will get you.
It's emotions.
You know, this is New Day with SSJ, but
and comfort level. I mean, with me sitting here, we've been doing this a long time, so you probably just relaxed and went right into your. Here we go. It's Friday. And I go, he just said Border Patrol like smooth as can be.
That's wondering why I asked him what Todd was. 1.
That's 1.
Still, 2.5 was the number.
People talk about different things, different aspects of broadcasting, or one of them is obviously that we get a chance to be around people and meet people we thought we never would get a chance to, and just like saying, hey, Todd Lebo, like I know him, no big deal. There's a lot of people out there who go, I'd love to meet Todd Lebo. They hear so much about him. So that's all a part of it. But one of the things that aspects is how well do you listen when you're doing broadcasts. I do broadcasts almost always with partners. I mean, maybe when I've been alone here a little bit, maybe hosting a show or something. But usually I am always with someone else in a broadcast mode. And one of the things that I happen to, accidentally do well is listen really closely. Because I'm not a play-by-play guy. I'm the color guy. So I need to follow where the play-by-play guy goes. And if he runs to the left side of the room and I think the most important thing to talk about is in the right, guess what? I don't get to talk about what's on the right side. I got to go, and I believe to do a good partnership, you grab their hand, start over there. Maybe you can get over the right side, but you've got to follow the play-by-play. So when he said that, immediately I go, maybe I didn't hear that right. But then I go, no, I listen really, really closely.
Because you know what the funny thing is? I heard it. I knew I said it when I said it. But again, that's what happens when you take your eye off the ball. I caught an email, something that I asked to be done didn't get done. And instead of me ripping the microphone out of its base, I just said something to Jay. I said, oh, by the way, this email made me happy. Told him that. And he's like, I don't know what happened. And I'm like, oh, hey, welcome back. And it just went right into, Because usually when I look over at Nate and say, I get pissed off and see usually that, and then it brought me back to that anger. I'm just kidding. I'm embellishing, Nate. I love you. And also,
am I filling the role of Nate right now? You're saying just that comfort level.
You saw. I'll tell you what you did see. You saw that our show portrait out there.
Yes.
Nate's picture is covered up by a piece of paper, and once again, I did not do that. That was done.
We have video evidence.
That was done by Anthony Sherman.
Sherm.
And Anthony Sherman yesterday, he made sure it was up there. And even Nate came in, and he looked at me and he goes, you better not take that down. I said, well, I'm not going to take it down. I'm not interested. If Sherm doesn't want it taken down, it ain't going to be me. And he even told Nate, he goes, you better not take that down. And Nate like, oh, well, okay, then I'm not going to. So Sherm really wants that piece of paper to stay up there. And if someone takes it down, it ain't going to be me. So that's just, I'm not going to, I'm not going against Sherm's wishes when it comes to what he wants on the walls here. So, Jake, would you like to?
No, I think it's a smart move. I think you leave it be.
Oh, Stan. Big win by the Royals yesterday.
Giant win.
Big win.
Boy, that was really a big deal. Just the crushing way they lost a 5-0 lead. Bobby Witt Jr. blasting 2 home runs, just punching Cleveland in the gut with 2 home runs, 2 2-run homers to lead 5-0. You got the pitcher with the best ERA out on the mound. The Royals have arrived in Cleveland, and we are ready to play some ball. Let's go. And then they lost the game. And then they made an error. And isn't sports crazy how you just want to hug Bobby Witt Jr. always and say, oh, he's the next Patrick Mahomes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then he hits those home runs against Cleveland, and you're doing the same thing. And then he ends up making a mistake, and the game isn't won, and they lose the game. It was tied at that point, don't get me wrong, 5-5. But for Cleveland to come back and for Bobby Witt Jr. at the end of the game to have a sad mentality after that great game, Cleveland just had to love the fact that we come back and win. We win at home. Because in baseball, you don't – 2 out of 3 is a great series every time, right? It's not like football where you win every game you're supposed to. And what a crushing blow to the Royals it was, and Cleveland's confidence had to just explode with we were down 5-0, and we got Bobby Witt sad and in post-game disappointed in his play, and after he dominated the way he did for much of the game, and they win. But guess what? The Royals bounce back unbelievably, touching home plate when, man, I wondered where Pete Rose was. Remember when Pete Rose ran over
Right.
the All-Star game catcher? It was an All-Star game.
Ray Fosse?
Yeah. He crushed the catcher who was waiting to catch the ball in an All-Star game, and now you can't touch the catcher who blocked the plate. I know the rule is he accidentally blocked the plate because he got spun around, but it was amazing for the Royals to win that game, right? I mean, it just kind of erases the earlier loss on Tuesday, and isn't that what baseball is all about? Just
Right.
bounce back.
And the way they won it, with the bottom of the lineup coming through, with their bullpen, being able to come in and shut Cleveland down, and then the Royals scoring the winning run off Cleveland's bullpen, which has been terrific. That was not the recipe for success that I thought they would follow.
Right. And you shouldn't be riding a roller coaster at this point in June, right? That's not what baseball's about. It's a grind, put the game behind you. But we've seen a trend with the Royals. Would they lose 5 out of 6 or something like that in a stretch after they'd won a lot of games in a row? And you'd have to say they were not making winning plays. Because you can win and lose baseball games. I get all that. But I thought there was a trend line that they're not making winning plays under pressure, losing leads, making base running errors, bad decisions on plays. You got how often did we see the ball hit in the short outfield and the infielders and outfielders not be on the same page and the ball drop and things like that. Just non-winning plays I thought were a big part of the Royals having that little blip. We shouldn't overreact. It's baseball, but it's very big to set the tone with Cleveland after that crushing loss. I thought it was a crushing loss on Tuesday. I don't know how you felt about it, but that one hurt. In baseball, it shouldn't hurt until late August and September. But, man, they bounced back, had a rain out in the middle, and now you take a deep breath. And the Royals have been on the road for a while, so it's time to get back home, get to work. And the excitement level is building out there. Isn't it great? The weather today is so beautiful that, Jake, maybe you can understand when I say this because it's a little backwards. Today's so beautiful when I got out of the car, birds singing, weather. Felt like football season to me. Now, I'm supposed to say it felt like spring in baseball.
good.
But do you understand what I'm saying? When I got out and walked
It's always a football
20 steps
Friday.
from my car to the front door here,
It was cool.
I just
morning.
go, it is so beautiful. It feels like football.
I get people criticize me for this. I can deal with the cold better than I can deal with the heat. I've got lots of ways I can get warm. When I did get, like last night, it was hot on that field, and I'm like, let me get in a cold tub, Jake. I was thinking about your cold tub. I was going to call you and say I'm on the way.
Come on over
to hop in there. But my favorite weather, without a doubt, fall weather where there's a nice breeze and maybe 50s. I'll take the low
October
60s.
20th. Just every October
Yes.
20th every year.
That's exactly right. It's right there, and that's what I love. You wear a hoodie, you can wear a jacket, whatever, and it just like you said, it smells like football, feels like football, everything. That's the perfect weather to me. So I'm with you.
Now, I was supposed to say it smells like and feels like baseball. Okay, I get that too. I'm just telling you what my mind. I'm pretty honest here of telling people what I really think. So
I was just with half the Chiefs team last night, so I'm thinking football right now.
Yeah, exactly. So, but when I got in my car, I go, man, it feels like football season. After that, I sit here today going, this is great weather. Bring on the baseball. Royals fever is getting around. I hear people talking about wanting to watch every game. This is what is really cool in baseball, when you want to do that, when you want to know what's happening in every game. You can't watch 9 innings of every game. No one can do it, but it's fun to be around people who are saying what time's the start time, trying to monitor it, even old school, listening on radio, all those kind of things. So, yeah, the damper could have been put on if Cleveland would have went out and won 7-1 in the second game. But that was a great win.
Right.
Great win.
The Royals get the win 4-3.
Let's go Royals.
Over Cleveland. Now, I'd like to play something for you. This says, this is golf, but it has a football tie to it. And I think
is this Tony Romo missing a putt
No.
like he made bad plays with the Cowboys under pressure?
Oh, no. But this will make – I think this might make you laugh, but I know for a fact this will make Jake laugh. This is from the Golf Channel, and whoever the reporter is believes that they have landed a real good interview here. She believes she's interviewing Vince Young on the golf course. Jake, let's play.
Tell everyone who Vince Young is.
Well,
he's kind of old school already.
Someone needs to tell the reporter who Vince Young is, because it wasn't Vince Young.
Because he was a famous Texas quarterback when they won their last national championship.
Right, and you know what, he
Heisman Trophy winner.
Somewhat of a run in the NFL.
Tennessee Titans.
Right, and so let's hear. So I wish you would have been there, Stan, to tell her who Vince Young was. Let's listen to this interview opportunity on the Golf Channel.
Vince Young playing this week, and he's down with Bourne.
6 seasons in the NFL, arguably one of the best NCAA quarterbacks of all time in Texas. Picked up golf about 4 years ago. What's the biggest shift you make going from the ultimate team sport to now the ultimate individual sport?
Now, I apologize. You have the wrong person. I'm Everett Sands over Citadel, which I'm a football coach. But the thing is, the great thing about golf is I'm not only competing against myself, but I'm competing against everybody else.
This is your first pro-am ever playing, and what's the best part of being out here?
Well, being out here is a great thing, and having an opportunity to play with some professional golfers is a intimidating thing, but also a great thing.
Good luck this weekend.
Hey, I appreciate it.
And so you know what? Hey, we don't blame the reporter. Hey, they threw it down to her, right? Yeah. Listen, what's the setup again? Oh, I'd be mad if I was her. They set her up and watched her fall. They what did they say?
Vince Young playing this week, and he's down with Bourne.
No, he's not.
Incorrect.
6 seasons in the NFL, arguably one of the best NCAA quarterbacks of all time in Texas.
That's some good
Picked up
info.
golf about 4 years ago. Incorrect.
So they thought about this for a little while.
Yeah, they were getting ready.
Was this a radio or TV?
TV.
So the producer must have said.
Lauren Winthrow.
The producer must have been saying, "We've got this."
Unless she was like, I have Vince Young with me.
I have no idea.
Right.
I don't know.
That's kind of the fun inside stuff.
Right.
How does it go down? Does she say, "Hey, I've got Vince Young," the person in the truck, or many people in the truck, right? Go, okay, that's good. Go to the play-by-play guy. He doesn't see the picture, so maybe the play-by-play guy didn't mess her up at all.
Well, I think you could put blame on a lot of people because if
someone needed to realize that wasn't Vince Young.
Well, somebody else. I don't know. My question is Vince Young really playing in that tournament? Like, that's the question.
Let's hear. Okay, this is.
Yeah, that's a starting point. Like, if he's not even in the tournament,
But
he
then
should never make the mistake.
It's on a lot of people. Like, who's in the truck?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, so this
and Jake knows because he's a truck guy.
That's exactly right.
Behind his scenes at CBS.
So that was Citadel football great and assistant coach Everett Sands.
Yeah.
And so later on, a TV reporter connected with Everett Sands to ask him what that experience was like to be mistaken for Vince Young and how he handled it. So this is This is Scott Eisberg from WCIV-TV who connected with Everett Sands to ask him about that awkward situation.
A young lady came up and she said, Vince, which I thought she was introducing herself to me. They said, can I get an interview after you tee off? And I was like, sure. And I teed off, and then she came up and she started talking about being one of the best quarterbacks in the NCAA and playing for Texas and a 6-year NFL career. And I was like, she think I'm Vince Young. It was a very interesting moment.
You handled it like a pro on national TV. You handled it great. How quickly did your phone start buzzing?
Oh, well, it didn't start buzzing then, but about an hour after we got finished, it's been buzzing nonstop ever since that point.
Did you get to talk to her after and laugh about it, or have you?
I haven't seen her, but I waited so I could talk to Vince and tell him what happened. And then probably about 30 minutes later, actually my college roommates, the first one that sent it to me, sent me the video of the live recording.
Kind of like, throw any recruiting sales pitches out there. You had the national platform for it.
Hey, I didn't think necessarily about the recruiting aspect, but I wanted to make sure she knew I was a Citadel guy and I was a football coach. So I could talk football, so I could answer the question, intelligently because I have that football background. And actually, as I watched the video, I was sort of waiting for her to change gears, but she didn't. But it was all good.
That's funny. And final question, what did Vince Young say? Did he get a laugh out of it?
Well, so this is what happened. When Vince came up, I said, hey, Vince, how you doing? My name is Vince Young. And he just sort of smiled. I said, well, let me tell you the story behind it. So he did get a good chuckle.
Okay, so Vince Young was there. That I guess that makes it better. So you want to hear a worse one? So when we were out in Lake Tahoe for the American Century Championship, we're right next to where they had the Dan Le Batard show set up, but Dan Le Batard's not there. He's on satellite. He's back in Miami, but they have Stu Gatz there and some other guys. They sit down with a guy, and it was because we were right next, and we heard all this going on. We watched it. They sat down with country music star Jake Owen. He looks like Aaron Rodgers, and they thought he was Aaron Rodgers and did a 20-minute interview with him thinking he was Aaron Rodgers.
So he just played along because he thought it was funny, and he'd been.
Or did
the questions were the questions generic enough that it wasn't like? Were they each serious?
I guess Stu Gatz told his co-host, "Listen, I'll never have the relationship with Aaron Rodgers that I have with the guy that I thought was Aaron Rodgers," and so. I was hugging him. I was patting him on the stomach, saying, "You're my quarterback. You're my quarterback." And Jake Owen was replying, "I am." Something. He said, "I'm embarrassed. I told you I stayed up most of the night. I kept going through parts of the conversation, and I'm like, how did Jake just stay with it and not laugh at me?" So Jake Owen just kept going along with it as Aaron Rodgers, and then the next day they brought Jake Owen back over and interviewed him as Jake Owen, and so it's. And what happened at the Formula One race? Who did they? The reporter thought Paulo Banchero was Mahomes. Remember? Mahomes is not 6'10". I'll look for that one. When the guy goes to interview him as either the 6'10" basketball player, it's Patrick Mahomes. Hey, it happens.
Well, I'll tell you a little story here, but I don't think it's right time to do this story.
When we come back, we'll hear a story from Stan Weber about this. But at least I know you're Stan Weber. We'll take a break back after this on WHB.
F1 race. This is spectacular. This is crazy. I've never been to an F1 race. This is spectacular.
It's amazing to be allowed right in the middle of the competitors just before the race.
This is crazy. I've never been to an F1 race. This is spectacular.
It's amazing to be allowed right in the middle of the competitors just before the race starts.
Yeah, now you can see they locked in. It reminds me of myself. The real focus.
Okay, it's not Patrick. That's why he ignored me in the beginning. But what is your name, sir?
Paulo Banquero.
Right, okay. Well, I thought I was talking to somebody else. So I'm sorry about that. Whatever. Yeah. A